Hello, hello, and good day. I am your Baker Patrick. This is the 27th episode of the Fresh Baked Niche podcast, and today I really want to talk about some puzzles. But before all that, a couple of updates. First of all, I am currently undergoing a Pokemon challenge that is completely self-imposed, by which I would like to beat every generation before Legend ZA comes out. So what I mean by that is I'm going to pick one title within a generation, and after some deliberations, I will be picking basically mainline, but specifically like non-remakes. So if I were to say do Generation 3, I cannot look at Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire. Some people might disagree with this decision, but I think it's for the best and it makes the most sense. If you'd like to follow along with my journey, I am posting nightly updates on Bluesky, just to let people know, hey, this is how much time I was able to put into it. This is what my team looks like. Here's any major milestones. I can tell you at least, as of recording, I'm looking forward to doing this. The first step is to get a starter. I'm probably going to leave that decision up to my friends to make a vote. And I might continue to do that anyways. If you want to see the updates and just keep up with the journey, I'll probably talk about it throughout the podcast as updates. But again, it'll be all on Bluesky, so you can just see it there. Outside of that, I would like to announce that editing for the Quizyrinth is underway. We were able to sit down and record. I don't know when that's going to come out, but since it's not a numbered episode for this podcast, it's more freeform. It's also like many hours of recording, and I'm not used to working on something that big, so, give it some time. I'm going to try to make this as good as I can. Good or bad, there's going to be a second one. Not necessarily the Quizyrinth itself, but, we'll see. I would like to continue doing these types of shows. I think it's a lot of fun for the friends, and it's definitely fun for me to make, because, I like designing puzzles, I like designing games, and putting that all together it feels nice. And that's about it for updates, but, hey, I said puzzles, and today is about puzzles. So in no particular order, I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about some of my favorite puzzles. So starting off, I don't know what the proper name is, but I'm calling it a codex. And by that I mean those types of puzzles where, let's just say hypothetically, you're in an escape room. And what you need to do is you find a clue and it gives you maybe a couple of letters and then a bunch of numbers. What you need to realize and look at is, okay, well, here's maybe a bunch of books on a shelf. Well, these first two letters appear to be the author's name on this one. These next two letters are the title. Okay, cool. Well, then you can use those numbers, and in some order, you're going to need to find a page, a paragraph, and a word. I like those. I think they're kind of neat. I understand they can be a bit complex, and it has the possible chance of leading you astray, because obviously, if you have books where, let's just say it was title then author, not author then title, that could be its own issue where maybe you're in the wrong place. But I think it has a lot of potential. I think it's decent. I also like Myrtles. I don't know what type of puzzle they are, and I'd like to clarify, I'm not saying Wordle, like the thing you do on the Times website, although those are good. Myrtles are a series of 3 connected grids, where you'll usually have something like person-object intersecting each other, and then you'd have like person and location on another, and then item location on the third. And the idea is you're given a little story, and what you need to do is assign values to figure out who was where with what. It's very interesting. I like how they work. I think they're a lot of fun. It really pushes your brain to have to, put those pieces together and also utilize the missing information. Because you know what they say, there's 2 types of people. Those who can abstract with missing information. And actually, speaking of Wordle is a subsect of, I don't know what you want to call this type of game, but I'm calling it Mastermind based on the board game I like a lot. The idea is the Mastermind sets a color-coded pattern. Let's just say like red, blue, green, green. It is up to the solver to then take an amount of turns. I think it depends on the, how long or short you want it to go. But the idea is they put a guess. Let's just say they do blue, blue, red, red. What you would tell them is that, hold on, I know I just did the example, but I gotta actually solve it in my head. So you would tell them that one is correct and then one is in the wrong place, and that's all you would tell them. So then what they would maybe do is guess, green, 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 green. Well, then what you tell them is 2 are correct. So the idea is they keep testing out what they think the solution is and then being told, well, some of this is maybe correct, you don't know what. Some of this is slightly correct, or an amount of it's wrong, because just hypothetically, again, with this example, if you were to say yellow, 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 I'm not going to tell you any, like, I can't, there isn't a, so many are wrong. You get no feedback, and then you know, hey, there's no yellow to this puzzle. I believe you get a point for every guess, and it's golf rules where whoever at the end of the game, because you go back and forth, whoever has the least amount of points wins, because clearly you were able to guess a lot better. I like the deduction, I like the reasoning, and I like the feedback, because it's not an immediate, yeah, this blue one is very much correct, this red one is very much in the wrong place. You have to figure that out. So it's cool. I'm going to sound really old on this one, but I love a good jigsaw puzzle. My family has a tradition now where usually late fall and then into early spring, we do as many jigsaw puzzles as we can. It's just a ton of fun to just sit down and solve. And, for the rest of the year, we're usually just trying to collect more to do. It's simple, I know. Sometimes they can be a real pain in the dick, but, for me, it's fun. It's nice. It's soothing to just sit down and do. I mean, I even got one, it was kind of a joke from a friend. It was a bunch of color gradients, but I solved it within like a week, because it was just nice to be able to match the colors, and you put on some music and you just get in a rhythm and bang, bang, boom, you do it. Now, I'm definitely not the kind of person who'd be entering into any of those kind of competitions where, people speed solve jigsaw puzzles. That's just too stressful for me. I'd rather just do them at home. Also, Border Gang Rise Up, because I'm one of those people who I do solve the border first. I am aware that there are people out there who they just kind of go at it and they'll be like, okay, there's this hot air balloon. Let me look for all the pieces that look like the hot air balloon and build that first. And then, oh, there's a cat, let me build the cat. And then they slowly assemble the puzzle that way, with the border being the last thing they do. I just like it because it kind of defines the space you're working within, and it gives you kind of a reference where to put pieces, especially because most of the time the hint picture is a scaled down version of the final puzzle. So knowing like, oh hey, this truck goes about here, puts into perspective roughly how many pieces you're missing for something else. But to each their own. I mean, if you're enjoying them, then you're enjoying them. That's great. And lastly, funny enough, this had its own episode. Nonograms. I love a good nonogram. Again, I find them kind of soothing. It's very, how do I want to say, self-sufficient. I mean, when they're done right, there's not a whole lot of guessing per se. You kind of do a little bit here, and then that affects something over there, so you have to solve a little bit more, and then you got to go back to the original. And eventually you have this nice little pixelated picture. I think it's a ton of fun. I think it's really cool. And honestly, I wish we had them more in the States. I mean, I know, like, crossword puzzles are very prevalent, and that's fine, that's cool. I would much rather have the ability to go out and buy, like, a nonogram book, and then just sit there on the couch, maybe solving one or two a night until the book is done. I mean, they do sell them in, like, Japan, but, I don't really want to have to import those kind of things. I would like if they were just here, already imported, but, it's a first world problem. I mean, you can definitely solve them online, so at least there's an option there. I think that's about gonna do it for today. I do appreciate y'all, as always. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to see more like it, please consider subscribing and liking. It really helps out the channel and tells me what you people would like to hear. And while you're doing all that, maybe consider leaving a comment. Tell me some of your favorite puzzles. As always, until next time, thank you for baking with me, and have a good day. Goodbye.